What's up, guys? Big Troy backstage, Rockstar Energy Drink Mayhem Festival 2013, and I'm sitting with the lady herself, Jill Janus from Huntress.
Yeah, boy. What's up, Big Troy?
Blessed be to you.
Blessed be to you, too. It's always nice to meet a fellow pagan.
Always is. Show's actually called The Witching Hour for a reason. So. Now, you've been in music for a while. You were actually a DJ and promoter for a long time before you hooked up with the guys in Professor.
Correct.
To form Huntress.
Yes.
How did all that come about?
It came about from needing to make money and just trying to fund my musical career. I started to DJ in New York City. I went to school there for music, and I decided that rather than getting a normal job, I would just be my own boss. So I became a promoter and a DJ, and before I knew it, it just kind of took a life of its own, and traveled around the world, had some really good experiences doing that, and then I was able to make some money to fund some demos, to record, to play for various musicians, and I actually recorded some demos that Professor heard. When they heard them, they said it was like Diet Maiden, but they gave me a shot, and we joined forces.
Well, you definitely believe in cranking out the music, because you haven't stopped. EP Off With Her Head in 2010, debut CD Spell Eater in 2012, and now Starbound Beast in 2013. It's like studio.
Absolutely.
Where'd you get that work ethic, and where'd you get the energy to do all that? Because it's phenomenal.
Thank you. Well, I was born with that. I come from a family that's very eccentric. I'm a farm girl. I come from a bunch of farmers, and I was raised to have a very strong work ethic. Everything I have, I've worked really, really hard for, and once you're inspired and once you realize that you're going to live for your purpose, nothing else matters. When we were signed to Napalm Records, that was it. We knew at that moment we were going to have to abolish all of their ambitions and really focus on being the best band we could be. Fortunately, I have a great band of boys, and we all have the same vision, and we all want to do an album a year. So for me, right now, that's the plan until touring kind of, puts a damper on that, but we are already writing the third album, and it will be released next year.
Sick, girl. I mean, just the fact that you're, like I said, tour, studio, and you're on all these festivals now, first time on Mayhem.
Yes.
How's it been for you so far?
Mind-blowing. Mayhem Festival, wow. I mean, it's been such an honor, first of all, to be selected to be part of this journey. The bands have been killer. It's been a little bit like boot camp for us. It's been a great learning experience. We've never been on a production that's this large scale, where it flips and turns and moves overnight like a circus, and we are doing everything ourselves. I mean, fortunately, we have a bus thanks to the fans. We love you. But we are manning our own merch table. We're setting up. We don't have anybody doing our sound except the Mayhem folks, and they've been awesome. But it's really do it yourself or die, and that's the way that we find the most success really is you can never stop doing it yourself.
Now, is there anybody that's on the bill with you that you just really are kind of starstruck?
Yes, Amon Amarth, the Swedish Vikings. I think I have a crush on each one of them. I literally lay backstage or just I feel like such a creep. I'm in the wings just watching them nightly and taking
one
pictures.
Of the tightest bands live on stage. Their movements, everything so synced together.
Everything is so awesome and methodical, and their stage design is second to none. I mean, Rob Zombie, has a mind-blowing stage set, but Amon Amarth, especially being pagan, I just feel very attached to this, and we get along great. We've just become fast friends, Amon Amarth and Huntress, and I really look forward to spending some more time with them.
Now, singing, you have a 4-octave range. Did that come naturally, or did you really have to work to develop that?
I was born with that, and fortunately I have a mother who was able to notice that from a very early age. She knew that I was gifted with this voice, and we started to go to auditions together. Before I knew it, I was doing operas and musicals, and I was in training from the time I was about 13 years old to hone this. And then I was pegged a coloratura soprano, and that's basically the ability to make dolphins weep and dogs yelp.
Yeah.
Hopefully I want to break glass someday, but not at this point. The misconception behind having that many octaves is that I'm using that in metal, and that's not the truth. What I do is I've used those octaves for years singing opera and in musical theater, but those octaves now give me the ability to maintain my screams night after night, to be able to use different voices and different approaches vocally, which is so exciting for me, being so versatile, being able to jump so many octaves and have a wide range. A big influence for me is King Diamond and Merciful Fate. So, you know, I look up to that and kind of aspire to be a legendary metal voice one day.
I think you're eventually going to get there, because
Well,
it is something that sets you apart from everyone else. And having the operatic training, you can hold out notes a lot longer than your average vocalist is usually able to.
It's all breath control, you know. Anyone that wants to try to be a great metal singer, it really does start with the breath. And it starts with having the training, you know. Screaming for me is easy, you know. The singing and all the training I've had for so many years. What's difficult really is just shutting my mouth after a show and maintaining that weird little cave life in the back of the bus, where once I'm done with interviews, once I'm done with meeting fans and I'm done eating dinner, I go on vocal rest and I'm completely silent until the next morning when I eat breakfast. And that's the way it goes on tour.
A lot of people, as a vocalist, I'm a vocalist myself, and days of shows I don't speak before going on stage very much at all. If I do, it's in a very low whisper most of the time. People are like, "Can you say it again?" Yes, like this.
You have your techniques.
Yeah, you've got to. And if that's what keeps you going and keeps your voice strong show after show after show.
Sure. I haven't lost my voice yet, but I got to say, I am human and you never know. So I'm very, very careful, especially in these types of temperatures. And it's been a very new experience for us, playing in 110 degrees. Dust is blowing. It's just, you know, I'd rather be safe than sorry. But I do have that training and I haven't lost the voice yet. And I think I'm so careful because I can scream anytime. But to lose that clarity is what I don't want to do.
Just like a guitarist needs to replace his strings and take care of everything else, this is your instrument. So.
Precisely.
Now, you got into metal for what reason? What brought you to the metal side of things? Being a farm girl, what got you into the harder side of life?
The first time I ever heard Suicidal Tendencies, I was bit. It was 13 years old. I was 13 years old at the time, and I have a pen pal from Germany named Arna. He sent me a mixtape, a cassette. I don't know if anyone knows what that is anymore. But I heard Controlled by Hatred by Suicidal Tendencies, and I said, got it. You know, I want to do that. And I told my mom about it, and she was very adamantly against. You're not going to be singing metal or hard rock. But I did. I recorded a bunch of thrash songs in my best friend's basement. I still have these cute little demos from the time I was 15, singing Misfits song and screaming my head off. So even though I was still very much active in opera and musicals, I was just I was a little stoner skater witch, and you know, was just doing it, cranking it out all along. And then I learned about King Diamond. And when I heard King Diamond, Merciful Fate, I said, I can do that, and I don't have to fight with directors anymore. This rules.
Well, on your pagan life, were you raised pagan, or did you find it later?
My parents have always encouraged me to seek the secret site. And they've always encouraged my pagan ways from a very early age. There's 7 of us in the family, and there's never been a moment when we haven't been very, very attached to nature and spirits in nature and the elementals and everything along those lines. So yes, I was very much encouraged to be pagan from the time I was born. And, you know, my mother was raised Catholic, so there's some of that in there as well. I feel like it's all one when it comes down to it. What's very important for me is keeping very close to nature, and realizing that magic is what you make of it. It's about visualization, and I feel a key component to Huntress's success is that aspect of visualization and truly believing in what you want and seeing it and making it happen.
On that aspect as well, you're somebody that's very comfortable with your body. Many of the photo shoots you're wearing virtually next to nothing, and what is that the sky-clad aspect of the pagan religion coming into play with that? You're comfortable being naked and being exposed,
sure,
and just being clad only by the sky. Is that where that comes from?
I have a little story for you about that. First of all, when I'm sky-clad, it's for rituals, and I do keep a veil. I won't ever lift the veil entirely, and I do keep my mystery. With these first 3 albums, which are on Napalm Records, I had a very clear idea. I wanted to do 3 of them in the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone phases. If you notice on Spell Eater, and with all the promotion around it, was more maiden. It was a more sultry, it was more sexual, there was more sorcery I used with that album. This album, Starbound Beast, is a little more thoughtful. We're in the mother phase. So I'm not saying the album's going to be about anything, first of all, it's a very galactic, cosmic, returning to the stars, heavily influenced by trances from the Anunnaki and extraterrestrials this time around. But it's the mother phase. If you notice now, it's a little bit more thoughtful. The third record coming up, which will be released next year, is the crone phase. And beware the crone, because she's a vicious, horny old bitch.
I love it. I love it. If you guys haven't picked it up now, Starbound Beast, the second album from Huntress, in stores now, Napalm Records. Check it out. You guys want to pick this up, and you want to support Jill Janus and the band. Jill, thanks for taking time out with us, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much. It was really nice meeting you.
You too.